Go. Here.
Are you ready for another segment, Mr. Jeckovich?
Go ahead.
You're tough. You can take another segment. Let's see. It's September 20th, 2024, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, the segment 2 of his book, and that chapter is titled Delwood Ballroom and Delphine, Chapter 18. Mr. Jeckovich was a combat veteran of World War II, highly decorated with a Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, 2nd Battalion, 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. This division was actually termed in a loving fashion the Diaper Division. Why would they term you the Diaper Division?
They pulled kids out of ASDP in college.
Kids were just out of high school.
And just drafted them. They were still men. They had the days, D-Day was there.
Just out of high school. And many of these young boys lied about their age at 16 because they wanted to serve the country, right?
Yeah.
Were you enlisted or were you drafted?
I was drafted.
Tell us why.
I was drafted because my mother was alone. I wanted to stay as long as I could with her. Rookie Coast Guard Stevie was gone.
Okay, let me try to understand this. You waited till the last minute to be drafted so you'd have more time caring for your mother, correct?
See if I could find something for my mother, yeah.
You had more time. And then once you got that notice in the mail, how much time did you have to report?
90 days.
90?
90.
How many days?
90 days.
Did you wait till the 90th day?
Yeah.
And tell us when you got the notice, did someone hand deliver it or did they just stick it in the mail?
Put it in the mail.
Was it certified mail or just
regular mail?
Could
your friends and relatives and neighbors have selected you for armed services.
Okay, so the letter would read, your friends, neighbors, and relatives have selected you to the armed services.
Yeah.
And then you were to report to duty within 90 days.
Yeah.
And how'd you know where to go?
Went down to the armory place down near the falls. Took a bus to Buffalo. Buffalo took me to New York, and I went to Camp Upton.
Where was that at?
Camp Upton was in New York.
And how long were you there for?
Oh, well, just to sign in, and then they shipped me out.
And where'd they ship you out to?
Breckenridge, in Kentucky. Then they shipped me all over. I was in Field Artillery, Armored, Signal Corps, SPCA, all that stuff.
So you shipped you all over the place.
Yeah.
So from the time you were drafted, how many months was it before you seen active duty?
6 months.
And then you're right in there, right?
Yeah.
So you must have been many months in active duty. In fact, when you got shot up,
Well, I was there 18 months.
Yeah, when you got shot up during World War II, what hospital did they send you to?
France. They sent me to Field Hospital. Field Hospital sent me to another hospital in France. Then they shipped me to England. And if I didn't start making progress, they'd be shipping me to the States.
So you made progress.
No, I never got to the States.
No, but they made progress.
They let me go. They discharged me in France.
But they said
I went back with bandages on my arm.
You went back with bandages, but they said if you're able to walk, even though you got bandages, and you could squeeze the trigger of your machine gun, you're fit for duty.
Yeah, fit for duty, yeah.
Is that exactly what they said? Fit for duty. So, when you're in France, that's where you met Renee.
Yeah.
Right. That's where you met.
Well, I was in the hospital there, and I was taking a walk outside, and she's watching this little boy sail a sailboat in the pond there.
Yeah.
And we started talking.
I see. And so you had a long-term relationship with her, and then when you're another part of the rehab hospital, that wasn't directly in Paris, that was about 30 miles north of Paris, in order to see Renee Knightley from the Second hospital you're in, the rehab, you had to take a bus, a train, and then a taxi cab to see.
And be back at the Reveille at 8 o'clock, no, 6 o'clock in the morning.
That was a hard task to do that.
Yeah.
Bus, train, taxi cab to see your girlfriend in Paris, and then spin it right around, take the taxi cab, train, and bus to get back to camp.
Yeah.
Were you ever late?
Never AWOL, never AWOL.
That's hard to do. That's hard to do. That's a lot of traveling. When you were in Paris, we know you had a real nice relationship with Renee, and she was an artist, a former nun, and she finally got tortured and killed by the Nazis because they found out she was in the French underground. What was there a lot of black market in Paris?
Oh yeah. They were selling our equipment. Army
Selling
equipment.
everything.
Yeah. They'd steal it and sell it.
Steal and sell it. Who would be the buyers of your equipment?
Who would buy it? The other civilians there.
The civilians there. Did you ever see any French civilians wearing American uniforms?
No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. They usually go out in the country. They live out in the country.
Or they use them as a souvenir.
Yeah, and then they put it on over there. But they never worked in the streets, in the cities.
They would be dealt with harshly if they were caught.
Yeah.
How about, speaking of swapping uniforms, weren't you notified when you got to the combat zone that there's a lot of Nazi soldiers dressed up as American soldiers?
Yeah.
And then after you talked to them for a while, how'd you find out? How'd you find out they were fakes?
They had an accident. I said, "What's going on in New York?" In New York City. I said, "New York." He said, "New York?" I said, "Yeah, New York City."
So they're giving up. They're done.
Yeah. They know what they'll say.
What would happen? I know you said there's a lot of black market. There's probably a black market on both sides. I know you weren't involved in the black market. But what would happen if a foolish American soldier had souvenirs from a dead Nazi and they got caught from a German soldier?
And Germany caught them?
Yeah.
They killed them.
On the spot.
On the spot, yeah.
There'd be no questions asked. So that was out. You know.
Those Germans figured they killed the German to get that gun, and that we're going to kill him.
So you're done.
Retribution.
You're absolutely done.
I'm getting it.
How are you getting it?
Rich is bringing me one.
Why does he have to bring it to you?
Because he took them all down already.
Okay. So you would be done. Interesting story I just read the other day is that in the Rhine River, they just pulled out another military warship after all these 80 years.
Sunk.
Yeah, they just bumped into it by accident and they pulled the thing out. I imagine there's a lot of sunk warships in a lot of those rivers there, wouldn't you think?
Oh yeah, not so much warships, but scout vessels and that.
Yeah.
They would get a warship in there.
Yeah, and then what about, well, in some of the oceans, they're still pulling them out when they bump into them.
Well, out in the mid-ocean, yeah.
How about some of the landmines? There's thousands of mines still
Of course, the civilians were stepping on mines all the time. The kids they were kids, but out in the field so late, they stepped on a mine, they were gone.
And it's still going on today. I know they have aggressive campaigns to find all these mines, but there's so many mines placed 80 years ago, and they're still there.
They're never charted or nothing.
Could you imagine that? And they're still being detonated. They're still blowing up after 80 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They're still workable.
Wow. That's an interesting story. Did you ever drive a Jeep during the war?
I did, yeah.
In what capacity?
Unoccupied, unofficial.
Unofficial.
Post. I was with Post and Post said, "Can you drive down the field tour?" But so we drove from Marseille to France, or Marseille to where the hell was some other city in France.
Was Post a combat soldier?
No, he was a rear echelon.
Rear echelon. I see. But he would sound like a nice guy, right?
He was a driver.
What finally happened to Post?
behind half of them,
Yeah.
got his head blown off.
Oh, okay. All right, I understand that. Did you ever drive a 6x6?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Some old guy who was an Army guy. He was a sergeant. He was in the Army 30 years. I said, let me drive that truck for a while. And he said, oh, go ahead, John. And we took it on the woods, on the field supply next town over. And I must have drove it for half a day.
Didn't your buddies drive a 6x6?
Huh?
Didn't your buddies drive you in a 6x6
Oh, yeah.
during the narrow roads in Haverford, West Wales, to deliver to a nice family some beautiful number 10 cans of
10 cans of food and that, yeah.
Yeah, and those roads were so narrow that the tires of a 6x6 were basically touching at each
They were
other.
made for carts.
Yeah, they're made for carts. Imagine. What type of roads were they? Were they brick roads?
The what?
Were they brick roads or were they like cobblestone roads?
Cobblestone and paved.
Uh-huh.
Nothing was tarred, no.
And when you delivered these treats to this family, and the girl at the time you were dating, her name was Jean Rowan Young. When you delivered that food to them, was the parents very appreciative?
Oh, they'd kiss you and start crying. Yeah, because they were down to short rations.
And didn't you
The food was all going to the military.
Yeah, everything went to the military, everything. But didn't you say at the time that after you gave him the gifts before you left, you said, compliments of Uncle Sam?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you say
I
that?
said, U.S. Then you think they start crying, kissing you.
Yeah, because all the food was going to the war effort.
Yeah,
Everything was.
yeah. They
So-
didn't see some of that stuff for almost a year, 2 years.
So many people turned in gold and silver and steel, anything you could imagine during the war effort. That's why many people that had very fancy cars, they hid them cars because if the Germans got their hands on them, they'd melt them down for steel.
Yeah.
It was about 15 years ago, I found in a basement in Mount Airy, North Carolina. It was a basement. I don't know how the hell they got it down there. But it was a 1934 Rolls Royce. It was all aluminum. And it was in the basement.
A Rolls Royce?
Shipped over from Germany.
Yeah.
It must have been a diplomat or something of.
Some also, yeah, they did that quite often.
And they hid it in the basement in Mount Airy, North Carolina since World War II. And it was still there when I went there.
Yeah, but when he put that in the basement, he was transferred out someplace and when we went to, he got killed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I'm just saying that's the first time I heard the story of hiding unique vehicles from the Germans because they would melt them down.
Yeah.
The Germans would melt them down and make tanks or whatever else they did with the steel or the aluminum. That's an interesting fact. Let's see.
Well, even during the war, they were sending stuff. Some of these officers were sending stuff back home,
Yeah, like you said, a boat.
and they had connections to get the stuff home
Yeah.
during the war.
They had connections. That's a hell of a black market.
Yeah,
That's a black market.
yeah.
Wave to Zach. Zach wants to say hi to you. Wave to Zach. Okay, got it. Yeah, so it's still going on today, you know.
Huh?
It's still going on today.
Oh, yeah.
It's still going on today. Yeah, war. We still have not found another way.
Now what?
We still have not found another solution, a better way to bring peace than war. We still have not found a better solution. Wars have been going on for thousands and
They got
thousands
them
of
creeping
years.
up in Europe all the time there.
And we said World War I was the war to end all wars.
Yeah.
We've had more wars after World War I.
Israel's
unbelievable.
they got a fireplace out there already, bombing countries.
But we have not found a better way to keep our freedom than wars. We have not found a better way to keep our freedom than wars. That's a fact.
The only thing saving us is the ocean.
What's that? Yeah, the ocean.
Yeah, the ocean, yeah.
That's a great wall for us. Many people think, the wars are friends to the undertakers, friends to funeral homes. But the wars are friends to unscrupulous businessmen. Many of the businessmen during wars make millions and millions of dollars of building
and got all the connections made and everything.
All the connections selling guns, weapons, housing.
Bought property over there, bought castles over there,
Anything
everything.
you can imagine.
Yeah.
So war is profitable for some and nothing but heartbreak for others. And we still have not found a better way. We still not have found a better way to bring peace and freedom than wars. I don't think we'll probably ever will.
Well, the influential has the upper hand.
Yeah, I don't think we ever will. So, I'm going to start reading here. Let's see. This is you leaving Valerie when you said my heart, when you seen her with these other guys, you were going to surprise her. My heart sank as they disappeared into the garage area. I knew I would never see Valerie again. This is in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
The next thing I realized was I was handling the toll taker quartered across the bridge at Grand Island. I did not know how I got there, driving all the way from downtown Buffalo to the bridge. That is how I discovered, that's how disconnected I was and perturbed I was at this point. I made no attempt to contact Valerie the next few days, and since she did not have my phone number or address, she could not reach me. On my long weekend, when I was to meet her that Saturday night, I did not drive to her house or call her, giving any explanation of my action. I had broken off completely, even though I felt forlorn and despairing. I wanted to see her again and retain our friendship, but I concluded that it was useless and better this way. So it's just better you break it off.
Yeah, she's working full out those college boys.
So there's no reason to try to even catch it up.
That was a hopeless cause.
Yeah, well, it's good to know a hopeless cause. You don't keep on chasing it. Once again, I had come to full circle and could not situate myself in a favorable position to benefit myself or my future. At this critical moment, I would realize my shortcomings and immediately back off. Minutes, please. In this instance, Valerie must have perceived my vulnerability and decided to get on with her own life. I could not disparage her for that. Mother thought it was unusual for me to be home so much on days off, but I never divulged the real reason, and she never pressed me. So your mother was just probably happy you're home.
Yeah, had me more to do more work.
Keep that guy working, she said.
Yeah, keep on working.
I did not think that she was interested in it. Besides, I was now more available to drive Sally and Mother to wherever they wanted to go.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to keep busy to take my mind off of Valerie, of our lost friendship. I felt lonely and dejected, and worse yet, I did not know what to do next. Alleviate and soothe the hurt I felt inside. I could not tell anyone about my ordeal, nor did I want to. Instead, I concealed it and bore my sorrow in silence. Mother was thankful and relieved that I was not spending any more money on dance lessons. So Mother thought dance lessons were a waste of money.
Yeah.
Did not your mother think when you were a little boy, when you'd buy books, that Mother said...
Oh, yeah, book the bunk club.
Your mother said buying books was a waste of money?
Stick them underneath the bed.
What exactly did she say about buying books?
She says, we're starving here and you're buying books.
And so how did you have to read your book?
Luckily, I got the books before she did. I put them underneath the bed.
So you had to hide your books?
Book of the month, probably got one book a month.
You had to hide your books from your mother, correct? Now, how were the books delivered?
They were in the mailbox.
So how did your mother not intercept?
Because I got home earlier.
Okay.
Well, I was home.
I see. So you intercepted the books before your mother got home?
Luckily.
An interesting fact, how was the mail service 60 years ago?
Well, the mail was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
2 times a day?
Summer and winter.
2 times a day?
2 times 9 and 3.
How's your mail service today?
It's if it ever gets there, and it's scrambled up, whipped up, and everything else. Yeah.
So it's a lot different than Charlie the mailman that delivered you twice a day.
Poor Charlie, yeah. 2 times a day he had to go out there.
Yeah.
He was a short guy, too.
Yeah. He's a nice gentleman, Not many like him either. I bet you he was a World War II veteran.
Probably, yeah.
I bet he was. So you had to hide your books. Your mother's glad that you broke up with Valerie, so you give her more time to chauffeur her around. Mother was thankful and relieved that I was not spending any more money on dance lessons. I had not taken a lesson over 6 months. Could you still dance today?
Do I?
Could you still dance?
No, I can't. No, I can't dance. I can't. Of course, I can't walk. How am I going to dance?
I meant if your knees weren't shot, if your knees weren't blown.
Oh no, I like to dance.
So would you,
yeah.
if your knees weren't the problem, did you still have the talent?
Oh yeah, I remember the last time I jitterbug with Delphine.
And what year was
Stevie was there and Billy were there.
Oh yeah?
No, we were in some little cross town outside of Philadelphia. I don't know how we got there. And I was like, let's go out and dance out here, come on. And she said, slow down. And these 2 guys here were dancing.
So that was called the jitterbug. That was called the jitterbug, right? Wow. I would get into a run again and felt somewhat that I had full-fledged bachelor, set in his ways, and nothing was going on to change for him, despite his desire for a better life. I would listen to people at work, and in a way I envy them and the decisiveness in which they took charge of the social undertakings.
Bowling and stuff.
Yeah. Whether it was going bowling, you got it right on the, you remember this book word by word. Whether it was going bowling or out drinking at the Red Spot. What exactly was a Red Spot?
Red Spot was a half a block away from the Kimberly.
Half a block.
On the right-hand side, there's a family tavern. They lived upstairs. They had the tavern downstairs.
And many of the factory workers would go there.
Oh yeah, they go out of work or go to work, come out of work or go to work.
Were the factory workers the main source of support for the Red Spot?
Oh yeah.
So that was it.
Well, they probably had the neighbors that were customers too.
Yeah. And did you ever go inside the Red Spot?
No.
So what would they primarily drink in there? Did you know, beer or liquor?
No.
What would the workers at Kimberly primarily drink, beer or liquor?
Just mostly beer.
Mostly beer.
They didn't drink no hard liquor.
And what they do in there, play pool and shuffleboard?
Play pool, talk about how great what they did at work.
Oh, okay. I said, so the more they drank, the smarter they were.
Yeah.
I got it. Same as today. Same as today. There was no hesitation or deliberating that this is what they wanted to do. So they did not, with no apology to anyone. Lucky was at the same determination. He did what he wanted to do, be it drinking or not working or whatever, and if you did not like it or objected to it in any manner, so be it. He did it anyway. So your brother Lucky would do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I see. He'd do anything he wanted to do. And what happens if you told him, gave him a suggestion or something?
And what are you talking about? What are you reading that Wall Street Journal for, you stupid ass?
Wait, I don't understand this.
Huh?
You were reading a Wall Street Journal, your brother said
you're a stupid ass.
You're a stupid ass for reading the Wall Street?
Yeah. Well, because I worked at a stupid mill.
Yeah, I know.
And where the hell was he working? He's in the Coast Guard.
So he actually said that to you about the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
That's a strange comment. Okay, let's see. Mother convinced me to visit Steve in Pittsburgh. So on my next long weekend and much of my jargon, I gave in. It was about a 6-hour drive from the falls. And I left right after work Friday afternoon. Naturally, Lucky did not want to go, and I drove down myself. So your brother Lucky, the youngest brother, did not want to visit the oldest brother.
Yeah.
Maybe he had to work.
How come my mother didn't go?
Well, let me read on. I really did not want to visit Steve, for I knew too well what it would be like. But to make Mother happy, I went. I guess your mother didn't go, but she wanted you to go.
Well, she didn't like Millie. Millie didn't get to go out with her. Mother this, mother that.
Who's Millie?
Millie was Steve's wife.
Okay. It was a nice, easy drive in an early fall without the advent of snow or slippery, icy highways. The leaves had already climaxed in the color array. Was it beautiful when the leaves changed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The leaves have already climaxed in their color array, but there's still some that display their brilliant colors, and I enjoyed viewing them. So do you remember who you drove to Pittsburgh with?
Huh?
Do you remember who you drove to Pittsburgh with?
Oh, yeah.
Who was it? Who'd you go with?
Mostly I went by myself. I took my mother a couple of times, and that was it.
Okay. As I drove through the highway...
And then Stevie had all kinds of jobs for me there.
Oh, no. What kind of jobs you
Up on the roof, down in the attic, outside, put this in, put irrigation system, put the wiring here, Millie was hard of hearing. In her bedroom, she wanted the phone closer to her phone, closer to her bedroom.
Did you know how to do that?
And wire a new phone in there.
Did you know how to do that? Wire a phone?
Well, I was doing all that stuff anyway.
Minutes, please. That's interesting. I didn't know.
3.5.
So, let me just see here. Let's see. A time which was simpler without the constraints and duress which had increased in my life since. I thought of Jean as we bicycled along the beautiful coast of the Wales and how much life was worth living. And I was going off to war and facing possible death.
Go to Wales.
Yeah, from Wales to front line.
Yeah, that woman still lives here.
Yeah. How much different would my life have been if I had not followed my instincts instead of my emotions? Would life have been different, or would I, as
Stayed in Wales?
No, if you stayed in Lake Wales after the war.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked out there.
Remember
I think that woman, every time I see her down in there, she lives here now.
Well, were you ever thinking about living in Paris?
In Paris?
Paris?
Or Wales?
Were you ever thinking?
No, after the war?
Yeah.
No. Well, I had responsibilities here.
Did you ever think about living in Owensboro, Kentucky?
No, I had a responsibility here. That would be worse.
So that'd be worth. How do you think?
My mother would be all alone then. No, she'd be definitely alone.
But they couldn't come live with you and your mother?
Mother would never do that. She would never do that. I would never live with anybody either.
Minutes?
2.
So your mother would never accept that?
No.
But luckily she accepted Delphine, open arms. Delphine, they got along wonderfully.
Well, see, Delphine was a lifesaver for her, and then Delphine was a lifesaver for me.
Yeah, because it released you.
I was lucky. When I was going by that main street in Buffalo that night and I heard the music, I stopped and went up to the Bellwood Ballroom, and there was Agnes, Rosalie, and Delphine there.
That's how you first met?
Yeah, that's how we first met, and I took them all home, and one lived over here, one lived over there, one lived over there, after I took them for coffee.
So your first night was like a taxi cab?
Yeah.
Wow. And how
But then I said, I've got something going now, and I didn't think of Agnes, I didn't think of Rosa, I thought of Delphine.
So you stayed primarily with Delphine?
Yeah.
And then when you were going out with Delphine,
Minute and 14.
did you go visit her parents at her house?
Not for over here. We were just the two of us, yeah.
During
He said,
that,
you're going to have to meet my parents.
during that courtship,
So we did it one Sunday. I drove around the block a couple of times. We went in. Yeah, they're nice people.
They're nice people.
Yeah.
and what did her parents do for a living?
He was a contractor building houses.
And what did the mother do for a living?
Housewife.
Housewife. That's a good combination back then. We lost that today. And so how long was it before Delphine visited your mother?
I say 6 months.
And how'd they hit it off?
No, I bought her Sunday afternoon. And I was working in the kitchen, taking those cupboards out and putting the different covers in there.
For your mother?
In front of my mother. So when I walked in, my mother said, what are you doing here? Get in that kitchen and start working on those cupboards. And then Delphine said, what the hell? She didn't say nothing, but she was startled. And she said, You come over here, we'll look at the diagram, we'll get to know each other.
And it worked
And I
out.
said, holy Christ,